I want people to actually see why it takes me so long to do this. And I'm only putting what I promise and what I guarantee will fall. So your 463, your 824, your 806, those are black sheep numbers. This means that nobody, I mean nobody, will be investing in those combinations. That means your 330 is a black sheep number. Because remember, on the website, this is why it's important to keep your subscription membership up to date on the website. And I'll show you another reason too. So, as you can see, this right here, that was just one state. So now I got to go and take out all of these black sheep numbers. This is for Texas, by the way. I got to take out this extra box so you can see, you know that the top two, I promise, 745130. The number three and the number four are guaranteed, 604 and 296. This is for Texas. You got 815, first best alternate. Your last best alternate is 456. These are both promised. Your 644, first best double. Your 400 is the very last number you see. I'm going to publish this. Prediction posted successfully. And now I got to go and see. That was Texas. Now let's go see what Texas drew. They drew 3461, ladies and gentlemen. So your 3461, 3461. I'm not even going to check to see if I had it on the cheat sheet. I am just going to go and look for 3461. Watch out for 2252. Watch out for 2252. Okay. Watch out for 3641. 3641. Watch out for 3641. Watch out for 875 deuce. 875 deuce. Okay, so the number was 3461. This number will repeat and travel. 7520, I guarantee. 2461, I guarantee. Those are your number 3 and number 4 combinations. 9520, first best alternate, triple dollar sign. 7980, fire. 55 deuce deuce. And 2255, 2525. Watch out for 6395. Let me see here. Okay. 3461, 4-digit. Texas night drawing. And that number will fall within the next 24 hours. Let's see here. Select all. Copy. Okay. Now, what I'll do is one, 3, 6, 4, 1, 3, 6, 4, 1, 3, 6, 4. Watch out for 3, 1, 4, 2. 1, 3, 6, 4. Watch out for 4, 1, 8, 3. Watch out for 1, 6, 4, 1. Watch out for 7, 4, 6, 3. Watch out for 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 3, 7, 6. 1, 3, 6, 4, 4, 3, 6, 1. Watch out for 3, 1, 9, 6. Watch out for 3, 4, 9, 6. 9, 4, 6, 1. Watch out for 2, 1, 4, 3. Watch out for 4, 8, 1, 3. Watch out for 3, 4, 6, 5. Mm, 7, 3, 6, 1. Watch out, watch out. Your 3, 4, 1, 0. Watch out, 6, 0, 4, 3. Watch out, watch out. 4, 3, 8, 6. Watch out, watch out. 3, 4, 69. Watch out, watch out. 3, 4, 1, 3. Watch out, watch out. 3, 4, 7, 6. Watch out, watch out. 6, 3, 4, 2. Watch out, watch out. 4, 3, 1, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, boom, boom, boom. Do you see? Do you see what I see? 6, 3, 4, 1. Do you see? Do you see? I say, do you see what I see? Ladies and gentlemen, I scheduled it to fall by 10-2. What was yesterday? So again, when I tell you that these numbers are not lying and you don't believe me, shame on you. But if I don't provide it, if I don't promise it, then shame on me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look, I promise number 1 and number 2. This is the key for me. For you, you do exactly as I instruct, and you will win over and over and over again just by investing, not by playing, not by gambling, and not definitely by doing it for one drawing. Okay, so I gotta go over here, talking too much. Let's go see predictions. Today's prediction, 644. So now let's go back over here. So we already ascertained that we knew it was going to fall, right? We knew this, right? So watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this real closely. moving too fast. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Ladies and gentlemen. So let me see here. Let me see here how I can do this. Let's see here how we can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, follow my winning instructions. Ladies and gentlemen, 9502 did not lie. I told you, I promised the top two big money patterns will manifest. How many people know that will is a very strong four-letter word? Will don't mean might. Will don't mean maybe. I think. I don't know how to do that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I said that I could guarantee that you would see this number fall between 926 and what? 10-2. What was yesterday? Somebody tell me. Ladies and gentlemen, I also said that you would primarily, exclusively see this number show up and show out in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a Texas night draw on 925 that conveyed that information to me. Again, astro projection is real. Wake up, my people. Wake up. So again, when I tell you that these numbers are not lying and you don't believe me, there's no way that you can receive anything from me. That negative vibration keeps you from even quantum entangling with me. This is why you will never be able to understand, understand, or overstand what I am doing. You can call it black magic. You can call it magic. You can call it hocus pocus. You could call it abracadabra. You could call it whatever the fuck you want. I'm telling you the truth. Every single time I go live, every single time I prepare a prediction and promise it will fall, and you don't believe me, you're doing yourself a great injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, I kept my promise. This is why they keep banning me, because they don't want me promising the collective. Because once the collective really starts collecting this information, so really right now, nobody's collective because you're not collecting this vital, sacred information. But once you do, oh wow, look at this right here, ladies and gentlemen. Promise kept for that combination to fall. And we have proof in writing. That's the other cool part about what I'm doing. It's not only that I'm telling you, I have it in writing, proof in writing. Even though there's people that are accusing me of saying why they don't see these numbers before the number drop, because I'm posting them on a website, because I am posting them to a Discord channel where those people can see. If you want to see, then join. It's as simple as that. So again, if it was that easy, and if I was just pulling these numbers out my ass, I would just give you the toilet paper and you could roll with that. But that's not the case here, ladies and gentlemen. So again, when I tell you that a number will fall and you don't believe me, there's no way that you can receive me. I'm just telling you that. for honest truth right there. So again, when you see me go live and you hear me telling you about combinations, I'm really telling you about big money patterns. Once you're able to ascertain, to recognize and identify these big money patterns, as I call them out, by sum, by pair, and by the whole combination, you will begin to win at a very enormous rate because you are following my simple winning instructions that a 5-year-old can pick up on. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, you can go with the first two or you can go with the first one and fire. The first two, the first one, and fire, and then you will graduate to the triple dollar signs. But again, you can see the power in the first two. You can see how powerful the prediction is. You can see for word that 9502 did not lie to me. So why do you question me? Why do you ask me what will fall when I'm providing you what will fall? So again, I'm going to start refunding money when people start inboxing me what is good to play today when I'm telling you the first two numbers from each of the catalyst states. That's 7 times 2, which is 14. That's 14. If that's too many, you can go with the first one. You will see many times over and over and over again, the first one will do. We'll go over that shortly. So again, let me go back. Let's go back and let's go check something real quick. Okay, so that was 3461, ladies and gentlemen. And what's I put that in there real quick. Let's go here. 6395-7980-9520 2461 7520 8752 3461. And in most cases, ladies and gentlemen, how many people know that when somebody says in most cases that they're practicing? That's what lawyers say. That's what doctors say. Ladies and gentlemen, even though it may look like I'm practicing, you can see my numbers don't lie. And as Cardi B would say, I'm getting betterer and betterer. And that's for real. Okay, now I got to go upload this to the website. So we just pumped that in. Okay. See that right there? Did you see that error right there? That's how you miss a number. That's happened to me before. Rushing. Over here to admin. Paste. Only give them what will make them money. 3461 will make them money. Do you see this, ladies and gentlemen? This is tedious. So when I do get back in the body, that's when I become a slave. And it's not cool. 7520 cut. Guaranteed. 2461 cut. Guaranteed. That's number 3 and number 4. First best alternate, ladies and gentlemen, is 9520. That's triple dollar sign as proof that I made contact. 7980, that's low key fire. 55 deuce deuce, that's low key fire. Also, watch out for 5552 and watch out for 5 deuce deuce deuce. 6395. This is the very last number you see. If you remember, my first will fall last, and my last will fall first. Okay, I'm going to publish this. All right, we're good for the moment right now. We're good for the moment right now. So let's get rid of this laptop. One of the things I really can't stand. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't do this often, but I'm going to do it today. And I'm only going to do the 3-digit because I have not prepared the 4-digit because this is becoming very, 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 tiresome, where it requires so much energy to do. And I like to stay accurate as I possibly can. How many people can see that that's 108? How many people can see that? How many people can see the sum of 17? The sum of 17, the sum of 17 is extremely strong. So if you see 17, 17, 17, and you don't run with 17, something is wrong. If you see 17, 17, 17, and you don't run with 8 or 26, something is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the first two numbers. This is number one, the same number. Number one, 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 same number. Number two, different number. Number two, different number, different number, different number, different number, different number, different number. So again, ladies and gentlemen, especially my flips and mirror people, I'm going to get something straight with you finally, because I want you to really understand the true flips and mirrors, and I want you to be able to know when you should really be using them. So, according to sacred geometry, let's move this out here real quick. You're true. Your true flips and mirror would be, look, 1, 7. A 1 is a 7. Do you see the resemblance? The 1 is now slanted and given a minus. You see that? All right, your 2. What number does the 2 represent? It's the 5. The 3, ladies and gentlemen, you should already know. It's an incomplete 8. Okay. How many people know that 5 and 2 is 7? How many people know that 5 and 3 is 8? Again, the numbers are wavelengths, waves. They go up and down, not 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is for idiots. Okay? Now, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 4. Your 4 is 0. Your 6 is 9. You should already know that it's just flipped. That's it. Okay? Now, if this is true, then that means that the minus is false. I'm going to tell you 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8 is perfect. 4, 9, 5, 0. This is so negative, I would never use this, ever. I would never, ever, ever use this. And your divine 9 is going to be 1, 8, that's 9, 2, 7, that's 9, 3, 6, that's 9, 4, 5. Everything is in wavelengths, ladies and gentlemen. How many people are starting to understand a little bit about what I'm doing here? And again, I am not a teacher. I am only here to remind you to open up vessels that are asleep within you. This is why a lot of us have poor circulation. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to look at 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 5 and 8, 13, 8 and 13, 21, 13 and 21, 34, and so on, and so on, and so on. Okay, so take a snapshot of that. And I'm going to reveal to you when to use these. Okay. Let's go into the Discord now. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, big money pattern spoke to me 21 hours before it arrived. Straight, ladies and gentlemen. Guaranteed to fall straight, ladies and gentlemen, to manifest between 9:27 and 10:4. Yesterday was 10:2. I also specifically guaranteed the number 4 number would fall straight. Nobody's picking up on that though. There it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. I promised that big money pattern would fall at 4:43 a.m., ladies and gentlemen. That's proof that it would show up and show out when it did. But who's listening? Ladies and gentlemen, year 6141, I told you that numbers don't lie. Again, people will say, but that number just fell, Mr. Bascomb. And I will tell you that the numbers say that they don't give a fuck. They don't. There's proof right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look. Pay close attention. That was Georgia. That was Georgia. That was Georgia. Only 6 hours. I promise that number would show up and show out, ladies and gentlemen, at 4:23 a.m. I proved that I knew that the number 1 combination would do what it do. $329. How many people have started to realize that as I am doing the predictions, the numbers are becoming extremely strong? Again, I guaranteed the number 4 number specifically would fall in Texas straight. And that was at 10:59 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, I did one even better. I promised that big money pattern would fall with 4 stars, not just 3. I mean, 4, the $4 signs, not just 3, where I'm promising this right here is like a super promise. But ain't nobody paying attention to you, Mr. Bascomb. Ladies and gentlemen, I put it on the cheat sheet. Boom, boom, boom. There's your 3199. Number 3 number, 1, 2, 3. At 5:23 a.m., I guaranteed you would see that combination. If you were listening, if you were paying attention, and if you were following my simple winning instructions, you would have graduated to playing what is guaranteed. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it again on a cheat sheet, guaranteed to fall by 10-6. Yesterday was 10-2. Look at that right there. This was scheduled to fall by 10-7. Yesterday was 10-2. I'm giving you the same big money patterns over and over again, my friends. Why? Because numbers don't lie. Here's your 7439. I've been practically crying my eyes out telling you that that number would fall. I put it in the number 1 position so you would not miss. I told you that that number is an investment number. It's for investment purposes only. So when I gave it to you on 9/25 at 7:58 p.m., that was for you to invest in. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 number dropped by the deadline date. Don't need to do a rundown. I've already ran the number down. The number came to me and told me, hey, I'm going to show up and show out. Convey this information to your VIP. And that's what I did religiously. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see that there? Your number one number? Do you notice, ladies and gentlemen, I also give the numbers that will possibly follow that number with the highest probability being 7340. You talking too much, man. Stop giving away all the secrets because ain't nobody really listening. That's what you're finding out. That's what's happening. If I give away too many secrets, then the damn lottery commissions will know. But I'm trying to put you up on game so y'all won't have to play the game. But you want to play the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, 681, number 2 number. I promised that big money pattern combination would show up and show out by 10-2 on 10-2. You didn't have to wait. That was a no wait. Congratulations if you invested in my top 2 numbers. I put it on a cheat sheet. Triple dollar sign. I promised it would fall by 10-8. So watch you see that number on 10-8, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, here's 059, the number 4 number. I guaranteed that shit would fall. I said it would manifest from 927 to 10-4. Today is 10-3. Yesterday was 10-2. Watch 059 fall on the very last day again. But ain't nobody listening to you, Mr. Bascomb. Watch out for 666 deuce. Ladies and gentlemen, that's one of my favorites. I actually came to this plane of existence on February 6, 1966. So I'm going to run 2666 if I get that chance. You're 570, ladies and gentlemen. 6 hours is all it took. Straight, ladies and gentlemen. I guaranteed you would see that number drop in Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, I went a step further and I promised it would fall straight. Right there. From 928 to 10-5. Yesterday was 10-2. You got 0822. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you my number one number will not fail. But somebody just wants to be negative and say, but Mr. Bascomb, that number just fell. Again. 039, your number one combination, big money pattern. I promised it would fall. Ladies and gentlemen, I gave that to you on 9:30. But who's listening? Who's paying attention? You're 683. I put it on the cheat sheet to fall by 10-6. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised it would fall. You got 929 to 10-5. 405. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see that promise on a big money pattern? It was black sheep, underdog. So that means that not very many people was going to play that number. You could have got off on that number straight. And I promised that number the day of. Number one combination. Boom, boom, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you if you focus on my top 5 3 digits, which I promise will manifest from 929 to 10-5. Do you see how powerful I was on 929 to predict all of these combinations to fall on 10-2? I'll take a bow for that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're 6559. Number one number. Y'all better stop playing with me. Somebody say he on fire. I am the fire. Ladies and gentlemen, I put it on the cheat sheet. Number one combination. You got 130. I promise 130 would fall straight. On 9:30, I gave it to you to fall by 10-6. Watch it fall again by 10-6. Somebody say he not picking ordinary numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2384. Boom, 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 boom. Promise kept for it to fall by the deadline date. Somebody say, mm-mm-mm. I told you that the F and the I and the C and the A, I'm leaving out that middle one because I'm not trying to draw that much attention, but I'm going to tell you, they know. They already know. They know. They know. They know, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you should know. Stop speculating. Look at this right here, ladies and gentlemen. 1683. Number one number. That was for Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, 440. I promised that only number on fire would fall straight. That was for Virginia. Don't matter where you live. If they drop in new numbers on Pluto, we gonna hit on Pluto. If they drop in numbers on Venus, we gonna hit on Venus. They dropping our numbers right here on Earth. We should be hitting on Earth every single day, multiple times each day. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our members gifted me $350 in cryptocurrency. And it was a few months ago on this feed. You can go back and see how I turned $350 into $10,000 in less than 2 weeks. It's actually probably about 7 to 8 days because I know if you go back, you'll probably see that I am kind of like just under giving you what was really the score because I'm not trying to put it out there. I'm just trying to make you aware that where you are, you're supposed to be. I'm speaking to the VIP and those who will become VIP. Ladies and gentlemen, your 4802 triple dollar sign. I promise the very last number you see will fall first. It's an allegory. Ladies and gentlemen, if you notice, your 3199 was so kind to give me the frequency and vibration is real. 647, ladies and gentlemen, 647. I guaranteed the number 4 number would fall in North Carolina. 647, straight! Over and over and over again. Your number 1 number, big money pattern. Look at that right there, ladies and gentlemen. I promised you would see that big money pattern manifest from 10-1 to 10-7 one day. There's your 6341. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised that number would fall in Texas. It fell in Texas. You're going to see 3461, 3641, 8752, 752, 2461, 9520, 7980. You're going to see 5522, 2225, and 5552 and 6395. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me see here. I have. So we went over those other numbers. I said I was gonna. Let me see. We got it is 927. Uh, okay, let me see if I can pull this back up one more time. So I see how they're gonna play me now. They want to lock you up. So let's go do this here. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. All right, now chat. Give me a four-digit number that you want to know about. I'll go with the first one that I see. Give me a four-digit number. This is how you check your combinations for the VIP who are members and they pay for the subscription. You should be using this. So we got 48004800. We're going to hit calculate. Uh-oh. 4800. There we go. Let me see if I can do this a little bit better here. Okay. So you see, if you're looking for zero zeros, you're going to go 0039, 0057, 0066. Those are your only zero zeros that you want to run with, right? Now, if you were looking at 48, ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. It would be your 2244. That's 48. 2244 is your 48. You could also get it out of this one here with a 4 and that one there with a 4. Also, your triple fours with a 0. And everybody knows that we're waiting on triple fours. That's your triple fours right there. And they will drop it in the 4-digit. You will get paid that much more just running it in the 4-digit. Look at that 0228, ladies and gentlemen. So expect that to fall out again. Watch out for 0237. Watch out for 0345, 1137, 1155, 1236, 2226, quad threes. One 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 nine is extremely strong. I'm going to go do that 0617. Calculate. These are all the numbers that will resonate with 0617, ladies and gentlemen, because they have that same sum. There's your 000000. Watch out for 0149, 0158, 0167. Watch out for 0239, 0248, 0257. 0266, that will fall if they don't pull 2666. Watch out for 0338. You already know about that number. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. I'm going to take you down to the bottom a little bit. Your 2255 will roll out. Your 2336 and your 2345. Watch out for 3344. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that right there. How many people see 1346? And we nailed the shit out of that number. So watch out for 1337. Watch out for 1238 and 1157. I'm going to do that 1985 now. I'm also going to be adding to the new website where you can put in the last number that fell in your state with the date, and it will provide for you your pairs. It will provide for you your pairs that you will be looking for, and you will already know the sums. If you don't know the sum, bring the number here, and it will tell you what the sum is right there. So if you don't know what the sum of 1985 is, once you put it in and hit calculate, it's going to tell you what the sum is. Because I know some of us are a little bit challenged with arithmetic. So that's not a problem. Again, I make it easy for a 5-year-old to do this. Pretty soon, you'll be able to jump on your Alexa and be able to invest in my numbers. So let's go. We see there's no 00s for your 1985. So you got 5666, 4667, 4559, and 3677. 2399, 1679, 1589, extremely strong, and 1499 will fall because they just pulled 1399. Nine, 951. Sum of 24. You're going to see 0699, 0789, triple eights with a 0. You can also see quad eights. Watch out for 1689. That 1599 is extremely strong. 3489, 3579, you will see. Watch out for that 4488, 4578, 4569. You will see quad sixes, quad sixes, quad sixes. So again, members utilize this tool. And when I tell you, you get these numbers right here, once you see these numbers, that's when you take a moment because you see a whole lot of numbers. Now, boom, you come to the cheat sheet and we can see what we can see. Let's see here. All right, I'll do one better. I'm giving 3 free days to the first person that can find one of these numbers on this sheet on that screen. So we have your numbers 1285 4376. We got 2588. We have 0394 7906. You have your 1576 0980. You got 7361 1277. You got 7463, ladies and gentlemen. Very strong combination. 4183 1387. Very strong combination. 2670, another extremely strong combination. That's 2670 right there. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be your 3678. Your 3678 right there. A boom, boom, boom. A boom, boom, boom. A boom, boom, boom. Do you see that right there? It's your number one number. So the person who asked about your 1995, you stick with the 1995, but also know that your 3678, your 3579, watching out for 3669 and 2688. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's see here. It's 9:40. I'm going to take me a small break. I've been up since the wee hours getting this done. So I won't be doing a 4-digit list. So you can make your own by going backwards through the feed. Here's your 3-digit lists. I'm making this available for the whole world to see. And anytime you want one of these lists that is good for 7 to 8 days, just inbox me and I will get you one for $30. You will win straight. There's no doubt in my mind. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of energy in what I do. Okay, so I am going to give you a little synopsis of what's going on with me. Somebody explained it very, very well. Let's see if I can pull it back up. Let's see here. No, that's not it. Let's see here. Let me pull this back down. Hold on, let me close it out first. Log out. So, how many people know how I get my numbers? Before I actually even reveal this video, I want to know if anybody knows how I really get my numbers. And then that's when I'll reveal this video. The last thing I see is Shanita Fry with the 9551. I want to know if somebody knows how I get my numbers. Let's see if I can find that video now. Where is that at?
Your soul has an ID, and no one is talking about it, but we're going to talk about it today. I'm an actress that goes by the name of I Am God Frequency, and nothing that I tell you is real. The frequencies that you hear in the background will not upgrade your consciousness so you can understand and overstand what I'm about to tell you about your soul ID. So yes, your soul has an ID that self-authenticates across all timelines, dimensions, and space. Your soul ID is a living code. That code decides which gates, which realms, which timelines will open up to you. It's not a metaphor. It's not a story. It's a functioning code, a functioning living code. And today I'm going to show you where it is and how the ancients have talked about this. This is your connection to your true sovereignty. This is one of the things that I've been talking about your level of consciousness. It's time for us to upgrade our consciousness so we can understand and understand what we are. Your indelible ID is an immutable vibrational geometric signature encoded into your morphogenetic template. It's carried across your light body. Think DNA plus cryptographic vibrational tone, like a living signature that authenticates itself second by second, minute by minute. Because we're multidimensional beings, we can be in multiple realms at one time. Your indelible ID constantly have to self-authenticate itself. So the perfect analogy would be fingerprinting in a private key for blockchain wallet. And it self-authenticates once again across all timelines. Once it self-authenticates across all timelines, it goes into a legal tone, which has everything to do with who you are. The signature that you don't know that you have. This code cannot be hacked, duplicated, or erased. This code is a part of your Akashic records. Your Akashic records is a ledger. Do they have your indelible ID? This ID proves who you are across time, all realms, all timelines, and all dimensions. And yes, galaxies. This code is eternal, unchangeable. It is a source code that you were created with in your morphogenetic body that resides in the morphogenetic field. This is where they get fingerprinting from here. The Egyptians talked about this. They talked about a vibrational key that gets you past the netherworld gates. So when you are traveling through the astral realm, Your vibrational key is what gives you access to stargates, portals, dimensions, different realms, and galaxies. The same way your passport gives you access to different countries here, so does your vibrational keys there. So our modern day soul key or code for here, it would be the biometrics of the fingerprint, the retina eye scan. This is where they get the concept of real ID. They're just mimicking what is actually real. And what's real is your indelible ID, your soul code that you were designed and created with, that is unhackable. Your indelible ID is also your eternal origin. You don't need to prove yourself to any realm. When you go there, they already know who you are. You've been checked. Remember, you are self-authenticating at all times. Your soul code ID, that's your mark, your freedom, and it's also your access. It is your divine serial code. So you often hear me say that your sovereignty is your passport. But what I'm really saying to you is your soul serial code is your authorization at the gate. So even if you reincarnate, you still have this code. This is why you have certain memories, because the code is attached to the memory field. So when you reincarnate, your dreams, your memories, your soul signature, it restores themselves because of this ID. It authenticates itself over and over again across all timelines and dimensions. This is why in the astral realm you are recognized or either you're stopped. Your vibrational access either matches or it doesn't. Once again, this is what the Egyptians spoke about when they would speak about getting past the net, which is the firmament. I've been talking to you guys over and over again about that in all of my videos. So when we're speaking about the net, the vibrational lattice, the firmament, the resonance membrane, this is what I've been talking to you guys about. Your soul key, the vibrational key. This is how we get past the realms through consciousness and through our vibrational code, the indelible code. And when I'm speaking about the indelible code, that means that it can never be changed. So without your ID being active, you cannot pass any of these vibrational realms. So this is why,
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to activate. If you don't activate, you stay stuck.
when people worry about clones and NPCs, literally you have no worries because they're not authenticated in these realms. That's why they're only here. So the Egyptians taught that only those who carried the true vibrational tone could get past the duat. This is what I'm speaking of. The ancients knew all these things, but it's been hidden from us. And now I'm here to talk to you guys about it. So when I'm talking about your spiritual sovereignty and what the Egyptians was showing us, they knew all of these things. When we're talking about the new, which is the firmament that I was talking to you about, this is your soul key, your passage, your pass key, your pathway. I've been speaking on this for a while now, and now here's more clarity for you. So again, when we talk about Akashic, this is your registry. When you first become reincarnated, that's your registry, that's your ledger. But when we're talking about your soul key, your soul code, your soul serial vibration, we're talking about your soul mission, your lineage, your contracts, data, and all of your identifying data. So is your soul ID is layered inside of your dossier. So your soul code is your broader file stored inside these ledgers and registries. So your soul code carries your life, contracts, missions, notes. It also carries your lineage markers. It carries your karmic threads, your recorded names. Every time you come here, you have another name. It is recorded. And it also carries identifiable patterns. So think of it as a full dossier for the soul cluster. And it is unerasable. It is a authentication token. It is geometry plus tone plus a monad legal tone. And it is in live coherence. And when you get to the gates, your soul code is checked for authentication. It is located between the heart thymus and the solar plexus. And it has its own harmonic tone, which is why you have your own vibrational signature. So I know a lot of you are going to say, so is she saying it's like a social security number or like a state ID? No, it's way more than that. So your soul ID is a unique pattern of frequencies. It is a pattern of frequencies and geometric template nodes and legal tone codes. And they are embedded across your morphogenetic field. And of course, your light bodies. And the function of it is it authenticates you. So what happens when you get to these temples and you cross these gates and you enter these portals, star systems, and you are vibrationally checked and you are scanned? They have different types of scanners as well. This is where all of this stuff is coming from that you see in the movies. So in temples and Stargate nodes, you're scanned for resonance. The temples are scanners themselves. The portals are scanners themselves. These temples and portals and stargates are living intelligence. You've heard about this with the Atlanteans, how they would have these vibrational scanners. Most of them were internal, but there were spiritual weaponry and scanners that they would use to check your vibration, whether you should enter certain areas or not. The Akashics, the registry consoles, also does vibrational checks and soul code scans. And these are authorized intelligence that scan. You also have living custodians, such as the chorus, the choir. This is where this stuff is coming from. You hear about choir. When you hear a choir, you listen to the frequency, the vibrational tones that are being belted out. So they call them the chorus keepers, the choir. These are conscious beings.
And the organ, when you hear the frequencies from the tones that it emits, it affects your organs.
Who sense vibration and they can vouch or deny you. So what is it that they are actually checking for? They're checking for tonal match, the primary harmonics, and they're checking for overtone as well. They're also checking for geometry that is in your soul code. So when they're checking your geometry, they're checking for seed point plus the filament network alignment, because you are also considered a network. They're also checking for the monadic legal signature.
Again, you can communicate because you are a Wi Fi network. You are a living Wi Fi network. See, they have you thinking that you need to pray, but you're not thinking of the other word that is similar, very, very similar to the word that they're using, where you're supposed to be asking for help, but you're really shooting yourself in the foot and then in the head because you emit frequency. So when you pray, you're letting the enemy know what it is that you need help with. Instead of commanding the universe to do what it is supposed to do because of who you are. This doesn't apply to everyone, but this does apply to the divine. You should already know whether or not you're divine. You should already know whether or not who you belong to on this realm. So again, when we talk about worlds, know that we're not on one plane of existence. This could be many planes of existence right before your eyes. But remember that a plane is a straight line. So planes actually are on levels. Planes do not fly around things. A plane cannot fly around the ball. That's why they call it a airplane, because it flies on a straight line. See, again, they don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know that where the airports are, those are energy fields. This is why they're able to dump fuel, because they really don't need it. Again, we've been lied to, ladies and gentlemen. I'll let this finish up and then I got to get out of here.
Which means who you were created by. Were you created by another being, or was you created by source? They're checking for the I am level of entry, or they're checking for your lineage token authority. Your ancestors vouch for you, whether you realize it or not. You're also being checked for timeline clearance and coherence, meaning, do you belong on this timeline? Also, meaning, do you have any conflicting soul contracts? They're checking for your authentication signature. Like, are you authentic? Are you a clone? Are you an NPC? So, autonomous nodes also do a lot of checking. So, you guys hear me talk about nodes all the time. These are also intelligence that is checking as well. So, what happens if there's a mismatch? They quarantine that astral body, that being, whatever it is, it gets quarantined. So, for a quick recap, your soul has an ID. You have a spiritual ID, and you travel with it across all timelines, dimensions, space, and galaxies. Your soul ID self authenticates second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, so on and so on and so on. If you're
So, again, ladies and gentlemen, when you're able to leave the body and do what I do, it makes it quite simple to see that the numbers that I am retrieving are not lying. It makes it quite simple to see and know that the information that I am revealing is sacred. It is from the future. You shouldn't even know about it until you get to it. So, again, when I tell you about energy, frequency, and vibration, and you don't believe me, something's wrong with you. You might be the NPC. You might be the clone. Most people will have no problem spitting fire at you for you spitting the truth. But because we're on a timeline where things are not really what you think they are, even though they say it's this, you know, it's just one of those things where you have to create your own reality to make it real for you. Once you grasp that, then there's nothing that can stop you. You can do what I do, you can do other things, you can do anything that you put your mind to. You just got to really hunker down, pull yourself away from everything and everybody. What you need to know is already inside of you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a break, and I shall probably return when I am available. At 10:30, we have Tennessee, 11 o'clock, Texas. So those of you who are in those states, if you can shoot me the numbers, I mean, and I don't want you to type it. I have to actually see it, because once I have made contact with the number, it's only going to give me the truth. And if you give me the wrong number, then now I'm putting out a lie. And I don't like to do that. So, like, if you can see Texas when it drop, if you can see Tennessee when it drop, and you can snapshot it and put it into the chat, or inbox me or email me it, I'll work on it right away. But I have to wait to know what they're dropping so I can get started on it. Otherwise, I'm just kind of just here, you know, waiting, because I'm so far ahead of time. I'm like almost 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. So again, when I tell you that a number will fall by a particular date and you've seen at least 5 or 6 times where I have made my deadline date, again, when you find the guy that can do what I am doing, I want to meet him because I will retire and I will believe in him because this is a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen, too much work. So, again, I will be back when the numbers drop out. Abundant prosperity in health and in wealth to all who follow me and believe in the hard work that you see me accomplishing every single day. I will see you all at the winner's table.